There's a weed in your lawn you've pulled many times, a flat rosette of oval leaves close to the ground. It grows in your lawn, your paths, and your driveway cracks. You've seen it as a stubborn, ugly little nuisance, so you dig it out or spray it and think no more of it. But you've been throwing away something truly precious, because this humble weed is called plantain, and it is one of the most useful plants on earth. For thousands of years, it was medicine, food, and more, a healing leaf and a wild meal, free at your feet. It has quietly followed people across the world. Today, you'll learn the secrets of this forgotten plant, and you may never pull it from your lawn again. Welcome back to What the Garden Knows, where your yard has been speaking, and we finally learned to listen. Let's begin by making sure you know exactly what to look for. This little plant is one that you have almost certainly seen many times before. You have walked right past it 1,000 times or more without a single thought. Look for a low, flat rosette of broad leaves hugging closely to the ground. The leaves themselves are broad and oval in shape and quite smooth along their edges. And running down each leaf are several strong parallel ribs. Those deep, curving parallel veins are the very surest way to know it. From the center of the plant rise slender stalks, each topped with a narrow seed spike. They stand straight up like little green rat tails, rising well above the flat leaves. You'll find this hardy little plant almost everywhere that people happen to go, in your lawn, along your paths, and in the cracks of your driveway. It thrives happily in the hard, worn-down ground where most other plants simply give up. Now, there is one thing we should clear up right away. This little weed happens to share its name with a completely different plant. You may have heard of plantain, the starchy fruit like a banana, but that big tropical cooking fruit is not at all what we are talking about here. Our plantain is a small, humble green weed of the lawn. The two are completely unrelated despite the shared name. So picture the flat green rosette, not the fruit in the store. That little green weed underfoot is the real hidden treasure we are about to explore, and its very first secret has saved people pain for ages. Because this plain little leaf is one of nature's oldest remedies, and it may be the most useful thing growing in your entire yard. If this weed grows in your lawn, tell me about it in the comments, and consider subscribing because its story is truly remarkable. Here is the first and most famous secret of the plantain leaf. For many thousands of years, it has been used as a simple, natural bandage. People have long and fondly called it a whole first aid kit growing right in the grass. Imagine that you are suddenly stung by a bee while out working in the garden, or perhaps you brush against stinging nettles or scrape your skin on a sharp thorn. For every single one of these, people have long reached for a humble plantain leaf. You simply pick a clean, fresh leaf and crush it gently between your fingers. Some would chew it softly to bruise it and release its juices. Then you gently press that soft, mashed green leaf right onto the sore, stung spot. And for a great many people, the relief comes really quite surprisingly quickly. The sting begins to calm and the itch and swelling ease. And this is not merely some old wives' tale idly passed down the years. The leaf holds real compounds that soothe and calm the skin. It quietly contains substances that help to cool the inflammation and calm the irritation. Other substances appear to fight off germs and help a small wound stay clean. It has even long been used to help gently draw out a splinter or a bee stinger. Now, a few honest words of care are important here. This gentle old remedy is only ever meant for small, everyday little irritations. Always be completely and absolutely sure that you have the right plant first, and for any serious wound or reaction, see a doctor right away. But for life's small, everyday stings, this humble little leaf is a quiet marvel. If this old remedy amazes you as much as it amazes me, good. Take a quick moment right now and tap that like button for me. It truly helps this forgotten plant lore reach more curious people. The second secret is that this weed is also a wild food. Long, long ago, this plant helped keep many hungry people alive and well-fed. The young and tender leaves of the plant are perfectly good and safe to eat. In the early spring, when they are still small and soft, they are at their very best. You can toss them raw into a fresh salad for a mild and pleasant green flavor, or you can cook them gently, much like spinach or other greens. But as the leaves grow older and larger, they turn quite tough and rather stringy. So it is really the fresh young leaves that people have always gathered and preferred. And this humble green is far more than just filling. It is quietly packed full of many good things that your body truly needs. It carries good vitamins that quietly support your eyes, your blood, and much more. It holds useful minerals drawn up from deep in the soil. For our ancestors, it was a free and healthy meal in hard times.
A free and healthy plant that could be gathered from almost any old roadside. When other food was scarce, plantain was always there, growing quietly underfoot, always ready to nourish whoever happened to need it. A humble little weed that has quietly fed people for many thousands of years. The third secret is hidden in those slender little seed spikes. Remember the narrow stalks that rise up above the leaves? By the time late summer arrives, they are packed full with tiny, dark seeds. And those tiny little seeds hold a real surprise that you will very surely recognize. For the seeds of this plant family are a well-known medicine. A very close cousin of our humble plantain gives us something we call psyllium, and you have very likely seen psyllium on a pharmacy shelf. It is in fact the main ingredient in many common fiber supplements today. It's the kind that people take every day to keep their digestion gentle and regular. When these seeds get wet, they swell into a soft, soothing jelly. That soft, gentle fiber then helps everything move along smoothly deep inside. So a medicine sold in tidy boxes and jars in the store grows wild and completely free on the humble weed in your own backyard. The very same kind of small, humble seed growing wild out there in your lawn. People have used these seeds this way for a very long time, carefully gathering the little seed spikes and saving all the tiny seeds within. It is truly astonishing just how much good is quietly packed into one small weed. A healing leaf, a wholesome food, and a gentle medicine in its seeds. And we have still not uncovered all that this plant can do. So, it heals, it feeds, and it even hides a medicine in its seeds. But this next secret is written in where the plantain chooses to grow.
Stay with me, because your plantain is quietly reading your soil. The fourth secret is the message that plantain sends about your yard. Because this particular plant does not simply grow in just any old spot at all. It has one particular kind of ground that it truly loves. Plantain truly thrives in soil that is hard, packed down tight, and heavily compacted. Just think for a moment of all the places where you tend to find it growing. Right along the well-worn footpaths across your lawn, in the hard cracks of the driveway, and right beside the busy garden gate, and in the bare, trodden strip of ground where everyone in the house always walks. These are all the places where the garden soil has been pressed down very hard. The ground there is squeezed tight, with little air inside. Most plants and long grasses struggle very badly indeed in such hard, packed soil, but the tough little plantain is perfectly happy there. Its sturdy leaves shrug off being stepped on again and again. So wherever you happen to see plantain, your soil there is very likely compacted. It is quietly pointing to the hard, tired ground beneath it, and that is a helpful sign, not a reason to reach for the spray. So if you truly want it gone, the real answer is simply to loosen that hard soil, ease the ground, let the air back in, and the grass can return. The fifth secret is how bravely this plant repairs damaged ground. Because plantain actually does far more than merely tolerate the hard-packed soil. It is one of nature's great healers of broken, bare earth. Picture a patch of ground that has been trampled completely bare, a spot so terribly hard and worn down that almost nothing else will grow there. This is exactly the kind of place plantain rushes in to settle.
It is a true pioneer, one of the very first green plants to take hold there. Its tough, sturdy roots push down deep and work their way into the compacted ground. Slowly, they begin to open up that hard, airless soil. Its wide, flat leaves spread themselves out and cover over the bare, exposed earth. And as you may recall, bare soil is soil in real danger. So the plantain shields it, holding the ground gently in place. It gently shelters the bare, open earth until other plants can slowly return. And in this quiet way, it slowly heals the very ground that it grows upon. It moves into the hardest, most damaged, most neglected spots, and it patiently begins the slow, quiet work of bringing them all back to life. And where we see only ruin and waste, the plantain sees a fine place to begin. It is a tough, humble, and endlessly patient little repairer, mending the tired, broken, and neglected ground, one quiet green leaf at a time. The sixth secret is how this plant quietly feeds the wild world. For plantain is not only useful to you and me, it also gives a great deal to the many creatures who quietly share your yard. Think again of those tall spikes, heavy with tiny seeds. And as the autumn comes, they become a welcome feast for hungry little birds. Little finches and sparrows love to perch on the spikes and peck away at the seeds. In the lean days of fall and winter, it is precious food for them. A single plant can offer up thousands of tiny seeds, scattered little gifts for all the small birds passing quietly through your garden. And the plant helps many humble insects as well. Certain caterpillars feed upon its broad and tender leaves, and in good time, those very caterpillars become beautiful butterflies and moths.
So this humble weed is really a quiet link in the whole great web of life. It feeds the insects, and the insects feed the birds above. It is a small, humble, but very steady source of life in your own backyard. By letting a little of it grow, you feed that whole web. The birds, the butterflies, and all the other small creatures quietly benefit. So your humble little plantain is truly a gift to all the wildlife around you, quietly nourishing the living world just outside your window. We've uncovered 6 gifts hidden in this trodden little weed, but the final secret is the most wonderful of them all, and it reaches back through the entire long story of humankind. Here is the 7th and most remarkable secret of the plantain. This humble little weed has been a faithful companion to people for countless ages. Wherever human beings have walked upon the earth, the plantain has faithfully followed. It grows faithfully along our roads, our winding paths, and our well-trodden ways. In fact, it follows us so faithfully that it earned old names. Long ago in England, it was lovingly called waybread, for it grew faithfully along every way and every road that people ever traveled. It was once counted proudly among the most treasured healing herbs of them all. People carried its seeds, knowingly or not, wherever they went, and so it spread along with them, slowly and steadily, all across the wide world. When settlers first crossed the ocean to new and distant lands, the humble plantain traveled quietly along with them the whole way. It sprang up right in their very footsteps as they slowly moved across the country, so faithfully that some native peoples gave it a striking name. They called it the footprint of the traveler who had come. And everywhere that people finally settled, this faithful little plant soon appeared, a steadfast companion, walking with us through all of history. For thousands of years, it healed our wounds and fed our hungry. It asked for nothing at all in return, and it followed us faithfully everywhere we went. And that very same ancient, faithful companion is still right here with us today, growing quietly there in your lawn, right along your own familiar daily path, offering you the very same quiet gifts that it once offered your distant ancestors: a gentle medicine, a wholesome meal, and a friend right there beneath your feet. So the very next time you happen to notice that flat little rosette of leaves, do not reach so quickly for the trowel or the spray. Kneel down for just a moment and look at it now with entirely new eyes. You are truly looking at one of all humankind's very oldest and truest friends, a humble healer that has walked beside us for all of time. And that, in the end, is what your garden has been quietly trying to tell you all along. So before you pull that flat little weed from your lawn again, remember all of the quiet, generous gifts it is patiently holding out to you: a healing leaf, a wholesome wild meal, and a faithful friend to the birds. Perhaps leave a little patch of it growing in a quiet corner, and let this ancient companion keep offering its gifts. If this changed the way you see your garden, subscribe to What the Garden Knows. Every single week we learn to read one more secret hidden in plain sight. And if you love the birds that visit your garden, check out Backyard Bird Mind. It's where we explore all the feathered visitors just outside your window. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, your garden is always speaking.